Hello there, my name is Charlie McCool, and this is my first ever episode of my new podcast, and it's called Your Shoulder to Cry On, and I will be bringing you new episodes every week on Thursdays at 12:30pm. So, let me give you a tea about why I have created this podcast. The reason I have created this podcast is for self-awareness, and it's about giving people a platform to listen to when they are feeling sad, worried, anxious, just dealing with problems that they have on their own. And I want to make this podcast to prove to people that you can get better, and as a person who's went through it myself, it does get better. By making this podcast, I want to give an insight into teenage life more, and about teenage struggles that parents and adults don't really see in teenagers, because I feel like they think we just get on with things and that's that. But I want this podcast also to be like an inspiration and for like parents. Ask their kids how they are more, and like check how they are, because when they come home from a stressful day, all they want to know is all they want to be asked is how is your day been. That's what I feel like my mum does a lot more now. So this podcast will be your therapy session, I guess, every week for you guys. So whenever you feel sad or feel yourself falling back into your past struggles, you can tune into this podcast and feel heard. This brings me to my first topic, and that will be sharing with you guys today, and that is about teenage struggles with self-image. I know this topic can be quite triggering for other people, and it's a big topic in today's society, I think, as a teenager myself. Teenagers today feel a lot of pressure to look a certain way, dress a certain way, or just be a different way in general, and it can be really exhausting even for women. Women are constantly put down by men, even other women. It can make them feel useless sometimes. Like, some women would slag off other women, some men are just horrible to women, and I feel like they get all the hate through body image, and I feel like women are put together constantly and compare themselves all the time, and it can be really damaging to their mental health, and it does damage their mental health, because all they see is another woman and they want to be that woman. Like, as all my friends are girls, it can be really damaging with relationships with other girls, and they don't even mean to do it, sometimes it just happens. And for male teenagers, they're always told to be strong. Like, males feel the need that they can't cry or show emotion, because it's just an Asian, like an old time mindset. So when men are in the need to feel emotional about things, they don't share it because they're scared that they'll show emotion. And more men in the past, from 2021 to 2021, have been male suicides, because teenagers don't speak about their mental health more to other people. They keep in because they feel like they can't show emotion. And it's actually really sad to hear, because as a male myself, I'm such an emotional person. I share emotion all the time, so it's very, very difficult to hear. I'm now going to share some experience of my own things with self-image. Obviously, it can be a triggering topic, so anyone listening, I hope okay for me to share this. But when I was in high school, I went through an ED, and I went through it because I was constantly bullied, not for my weight, just how thin I was. Like, they would be like, I can see your bones. So it would make me eat more. Like, I would binge eat, and it was really starting to affect my life. And I feel like the self-image, I didn't like myself at all, because what other people were saying, my mind was believing. So it was a very tough time, and it was not till recently that I came out of that ED, and it was quite like an enlightening moment where I was like, oh, this wasn't right. When I reflect on it, it was like, yeah, I couldn't get myself to think, oh yeah, I've got a normal body, I'm a normal person. And this goes out to people who's listening. Like, your mum created you. Love your body. Your body is where you live, in a sense. So you need to respect it as much as you respect other people. And I don't care how selfish that sounds, but you need to grasp the idea of, I'm good enough. Next will be an interview with my best friend Beth, who has dealt with mental health issues in the past, and I really hope you understand you are not on your own, and I hope you find guidance with this interview. What advice do you have for people who have struggled with their self-esteem?
Probably just to sort of get on with it in a way. Like, what's the point in like thinking about what everyone says and does about you when you can just sort of be yourself and not be bothered?
That's good advice.
Thanks.
What have you struggled with in the past?
Quite a lot, to be honest. Like mental abuse, physical abuse,
Oh.
depression, anxiety, and an eating disorder.
Is there a pressure for a person to look
Yeah.
as a teenager?
Yeah, in society there is definitely, because it's like a lot of social media and like other people's opinions will like reflect on you, and then bullying as well.
Yeah. Do you think women are compared to each other?
Yeah,
Compared with each other?
definitely. Like men as well. Like I feel like the men is like with men it's not talked about as much, but as someone who's grew up with like an older brother, he definitely used to compare himself to other people a lot. Like through myself, I know that I've constantly compared myself to people just non-stop. Same with my mum and like other women surrounding me. It's just a constant comparison.
Have you ever been pressured into something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a few things. Yeah.
Like peer pressured?
Yeah. I feel like I started to get a bit pressured into like hanging around in the wrong crowd, getting into relationships people I didn't want to be in, and then a lot of things.
What is your experience with anxiety, or have you dealt with anxiety?
So I still suffer with anxiety now, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I used to be quite bad with anxiety. It was I was diagnosed with panic disorder when I was 13. So
How did you react to that?
so I sort of reacted to that as a way of, well, when I got diagnosed with it, I was quite relieved, because I felt like having the diagnosis made me feel like I knew what was wrong with me and why I was acting the way that I was, because no one that I knew was going through the same thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like as I've grown older, like I've got rid of the panic disorder and I just suffer with anxiety now. So it's just like I don't really have panic attacks anymore. It's more just a fear of like not fitting in, because I'm not really bothered about that. It's more of a thinking that I'm gonna be not not fitting in, but I'm not actually that bothered, because I know that I've found the people that I fit in with now. And I think having people surrounding me that I'm not panicking constantly with is a good thing, so sort of dealt with it in that way.
That's good. What have you found challenging having anxiety?
Mostly just the constant feeling of thinking that something's going to happen. Like in the back of my mind, it's like I always think someone's watching me, or I'm gonna like something bad's going to happen when I'm out and I'm by myself, and like I know I can handle myself, but if a bloody 6'4" gym guy came out on the corner and was like, "I'm gonna kidnap you," I'd be like, okay. I'd probably end up peeing myself.
Does that come out most at night time when you're walking alone?
Yeah, but it's in the day as well. Like if I'm walking by myself, like, and I've got my headphones on, I always make sure that I've got like one ear out, and or I'll have my headphones around my neck. And it's like with like the music and stuff, it's like the music sort of calms me down.
What has helped you with your mental health? Like, what mechanisms have you had?
Quite a few. I feel like I've been through so much, and it's just it's gonna sound like a proper typical social media influence thing, but I think that going on walks and stuff helped quite a lot.
Has it worked for you, the mechanisms?
Most of them, yeah. Like I'm not so-called healed from mental health and stuff. Like it's probably gonna be a constant battle like throughout my whole life every now and again, but I know that the coping mechanisms that I've like mentioned and stuff have definitely been healthy for me. They definitely help, like going to the gym and stuff. It's like knowing that I can just better myself constantly is a way of sort of saying that it does help, and like just doing things for yourself is one of the most helpful things you can do.
Now that the first interview is over, I'm going to talk about the final two topics. So the first one is depression in teenagers, and it is a very common, as we took 2 years out of education through a pandemic, so I feel like we lost our social skills with other people, so our mindset now needs a big reset button, because our mindset that we are living in now is the same as 2020 and 2021, because we couldn't communicate. And I feel like when we tried to communicate with parents and friends, it was through messages and it came across a different way, and it didn't show like emotions. So I feel like people who have had, like for example in 2020, people losing their lives from the pandemic or other things, I feel like people are grieving from that now, because it was in a very, very lonely moment, and I feel like people are grieving from their moments now. We got the help we needed, but it was so stressful because we had to do all our revision ourselves at home, and I feel like the stress that we get now from it, for exams, it gets really bad because how stressed we were in 2020. And I'm only saying this from a teenager myself. My struggles did come from 2020, because I came out as gay in 2020, and I was in lockdown, so I was like, okay, this is fine. And then when I went back, it's when it got bad. And I feel like people in 2020, there was massive changes from other people, and their change was taking the me for who I was, and it really messed with my mental health. Like, it made me think, oh, maybe I'm not normal, and I need to get. No one thinks, no one's helping me here. No one is believing who I am is me. So it was very, very hard at the beginning. But this was at the start of last year. Like, I came to college from a new slate, and then I was picked on again. Like, and it set me back. Every time I got bullied, it brought me back to high school, and that's what happens now. Like, if I get bullied, it just brings me back to high school, because high school was such a bad time in my life that I would never go back. Like, it was awful. So I've had the counselling I needed, and it's been really, really helpful. So anyone listening today, please get some help. It could be a college counsellor, it could be your mum, it can be just talk to someone, because you see the effects of when no one talks to someone, it can turn into a really, really sour. So yeah, this brings us to the end of the first episode of Your Shoulder to Cry On, and I hope you take away from this life experiences and techniques on how to help other people. Here are some links to some websites I have to support you on the best way. I hope you enjoy.